Hey there, it's Odette Blacklock, podiatrist, run coach, and personal trainer. It's week 6 after injuring my ankle, and I wanted to show you the rehab that I am doing in order to help restore full function of my ankle after breaking it, Rebate fracture and a high ankle sprain. So I hope this helps in your rehab journey. Come and sit with me on the floor. I'm going to show you and talk to you. I'll just move back. Maybe I'll just pop that camera down a little. Okay, so I'm gonna move back. All right, so today I wanted to talk to you about working on the range of motion within the joint. So we're looking at passive, active range of motion and having a good full range of motion in all of the directions. And we need to also look at reducing scar tissue because we're now gone from the inflammation phase to the proliferation phase where scar tissue and adhesions have set down, and this is going to restrict our range of motion. So those two things we're really going to look at in this video. I want you to think about the type of motion. So with our ranges of motion, we want to look at dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, and this is really important in our gait because our foot moves through these ranges of motion. So in the sagittal plane, dorsiflexion and plantar flexion we'll look at. In the transverse plane, we're going to look at moving through external and internal rotation. And then in the frontal plane, we're going to look at going inversion and eversion. So all of these ranges are very important to restore to make sure that we're going to get back into full good kind of movement patterns and mechanics when we return to running and jumping and all of that sort of stuff. So that's why this is important to go through. So if we think of active range of motion, that is without assistance. So I'm going to look at plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. I'll just pop my feet up on here so you can see them a little bit better. So I'll go plantar flexion, and you can see on my right foot, not too good. It doesn't get through that full plantar flexion phase. And so I'm gonna really have to work on that. And that's because that scar tissue has formed, especially in the boot, being at that 90-degree angle for so long. But now, as I go through dorsiflexion, which is very important in gait, remember we need to get our tibia, everything in 90 degree in order to advance that tibia forward in order to push off. So if you get into equinus, which is that slight plantar flexion, you can't get to 90 degrees, it's going to really affect your gait. So we need to be able to actively get to a 90-degree angle, okay, or passively through the ground, okay, against resistance, and even a little bit more to help that tibia advance forward in that gait cycle. So 90 degrees is important, I'm getting that. If you need to stretch out the calf as it may have become a bit restricted, you would want to use a band to stretch with, and you can get into that 90-degree angle. Okay, as you push forward, you're going to work on a little bit of strength to actively engage those muscles in the calf as well, which is really important in that plantar flexion. Then you want to work on inversion and eversion. Now, if you've injured the muscle, you've injured your ankle, the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, in inversion, you're going to be a bit safer and a little bit kind of more mindful about how you're moving into this, okay? So try and avoid pain, okay, but go as far as you can, okay? So we're trying to avoid too much movement where we have injured ourselves in that phase, okay? So inversion, usually ankle sprain, inversion sprain, all of the muscles, tendon, ligaments around the ankle are going to be a bit restricted there. So inversion, eversion, working through that active range of motion. And then we want to look at external rotation and internal rotation, okay? So just seeing how far you can get. I'm not very good at this one because this is how I've injured my foot, so I'm going to take it a little bit slower. Eventually, we want to use some banded exercises where we can gain strength, internal, external rotation, and you basically set it up so you can gain some resistance in that plane and work on strength and really good quality range of motion. Now, massage is extremely important to get rid of these restrictions. So use a massage oil, and I want you to go through basically anywhere you're feeling that tightness. Take your time, use this daily. And if you think about it, there's over 100, muscles, tendons, ligaments. There's so many structures we have to work through in the foot. So we want to take our time, go to where it's tight. It's probably going to be tight around the ankle, and just work through, going forward and backward, breaking up the tissue. Remember, once we break down the tissue as well, there's going to cause inflammation, so we need to use some ice, compression, elevation after we finish massaging the foot. So take your time, do it daily, spend 5 to 10 minutes massaging around those structures without too much pain. Now, last of all, I just wanted to talk personally. I've found now through my big toe, I'm not getting a lot of power, okay? So, and I started to get some pain up through the side or the back of the ankle. Now, it seems to me that my flexor hallucis longus, which is a tendon that ends at the top here, wraps around and comes out through the back, may be being affected because of scar tissue that is developed here, okay? But I've still got function, but it's not a lot of power. So I'm gonna work on this, releasing the scar tissue, but also my strength and range of motion through my toes. The toes are very important to restore. Not many people actually think about that, but they're very important to restore because they help to recreate the arch of the foot. Again, they have a lot of their tendons attached in higher up, and so with full function, looking to get good full function of our lower limb, we need to work on our toes. So we want to look at piano toes, we want to look at, and that means spacing out the toes, trying to get flexion and extension through the toes. And I'm going to go into that a little bit further in the coming weeks, but hopefully today's video helps you with understanding the ranges of motion you want to execute. Passive range of motion, which means you might use assistance with the band, okay? Or active range of motion, which means you're going through that yourself. You want to go through dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, external rotation, internal rotation, inversion and eversion, okay? Through all the different planes. And you want to work through the range of motion without restriction and without pain. And we want to be a little bit more mindful about going through the range of motion where we have actually injured, or it's been the mechanism of injury in that particular range of motion. We want to be a little bit more mindful of going through that particular range, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Please write a comment if you have any questions, and we will work on toe function in the next video. Also, then I want to talk about returning to the gym and returning to strength training and what you can do there. So I hope this helps, and I will see you next time. Bye.